Hello, and welcome to the Great Game Debate Podcast, where friends come together to talk about video games and our lives. I'll be your host, Caden Baratheon, and joining me as always is our man in the closet, Wes Bates. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. If we don't have any additional technical issues, then it's all good. It's all gravy, baby. No, things are going good here. Working on a little project that's giving me some good vibes this weekend, and so I'm stoked about that. I'm super excited about this show, and I'm ready.
All right. And we are also joined, as always, by the godfather of the Great Game Debate himself, Jonah Gomez. Are you feeling the vibes today, Jonah?
Heck yeah, dude. I got a 3-day weekend this weekend, which is super awesome. We just started a new project for the Discord server, which I'll get into later, but
okay.
good vibes are good for me as well, man.
Sick. And it is our privilege this week to be joined by our special guest, Bradley Ellis of Easy Allies. How you doing, man?
Good.
Hey!
Happy to be here. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just jump right into it. I hope you guys stopped by the Belmont estate and picked up the vampire killer, because it's time for the Icebreaker. All right. So, Brad, you're probably a man who needs no introduction, at least in our community, but you're probably most well known for being part of the Easy Allies, which we're all big fans of. And we did kind of have a few Easy Allies related questions from our Discord server. But I'll throw you a little bit of a softball because you probably get this a lot. But your friendship with Michael P. Huber is somewhat legendary, and you could be succinct
legendary.
with this. Yeah,
Yes, it really is.
it really is.
If you didn't know.
Yeah, but this is something you've probably been asked before, so you can be as succinct as you like. But
Sure.
Some of our Discord members were curious, how you two kind of met originally.
I think me and Mike. Well, we grew up together in school. Like we were in kindergarten.
Wow, okay.
We were in different classes, but I think in first grade is when me and Mike were in the first class together.
Okay.
And we just kind of became friends since then, I'd say.
Wow. So it goes all the way back.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
That's awesome.
Well, kind of a follow-up on that. One of our other community members asked, what is the most, how do they phrase it here? What is the most heated you and Huber have ever got playing a video game growing up? You guys ever argue much or get competitive over it?
Heated against each other?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the intent of the question, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think. I feel like Mario Party was very heated a lot.
Yeah, that'll start wars for sure.
It's like weird. Me and Mike never really fight with each other. If we
Well, that's good to
I
hear.
don't think there's ever been a moment where like me and Mike would fight and we wouldn't be friends for like a week or anything like that.
Sure.
If we would argue, it'd be like an hour, maybe.
Mhm.
Then that's about it. So I guess it's pretty tame to most people. But yeah, we get into each other. But I guess that's also part of the fun for me and him is we both like doing that with each other.
Sure,
Like I'm sure
yeah.
you've had friends you can just mess around with. And we're like I personally take great pleasure in making Mike mad in Mario Party. So I would say probably that. Yeah, like a lot of like the N64 games, like Golden Eyes, stuff like that. Probably.
Sure.
I was gonna ask if you and he had played the most recent Mario Party together that just released.
We did play it, and it was a good time. Lots of salt. Yeah.
I've heard they've added a fair bit of randomness to the game, so
Yeah.
people are salty about that.
Oh yeah, there was plenty.
Well, sort of going forward from there, we've got another question about sort of like your history before Easy Allies. I think some of us have heard you've talked about it before on Easy Allies. Before you got into games journalism, I think you were a hairdresser, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the question is, how did you kind of make your way from a hairdresser to video games journalism? Like, did you have an interest in writing in school that translated over to getting into journalism?
No, I don't have any like training or anything in like that sense of writing to be quote unquote games journalism. I didn't study it at all. Obviously I was always interested in games, big time with me and Mike especially. Mike did follow the more traditional path of, college, going to school for like journalism, stuff like that. And eventually he got a job at G4, which turned into Game Trailers. And I was at a point when I think I was a hairdresser for like 3 years. And one day I was just like, I think it was E3. And so the place I worked at, there was like, I don't know if there was maybe one other dude there. And I worked with like 8 other women. And I remember E3 was going off and I was like, oh, sick. I was trying to like talk to them about it. And none of them really gave a about it. And I was like, damn. I was like, man, I kind of want to do something with video games. And I just kind of asked Mike, I'm like, hey, man, if there's any like intern things going on, game trailers or anything like that, I would love to do it. Let me know. So he checked in with Brandon. It took a long time. Like, Mike definitely had my back of pressuring Brandon to give me a shot because it took a long time for it to actually happen, like months and months. But then I just kind of, I started at the bottom of game trailers and I just proved that I could hang with the rest of the crew.
What kind of projects were you working on when you started there?
So I did a lot of the countdown stuff. Like, I did a lot of the capture for the countdowns. I wrote, like, basically what we do every Monday is have a meeting for a countdown, and everyone would be in there and we'd talk about it. So, like, people would get assigned to write a game, so I would like, write a game, but I did pretty much all the capture for that. And I think one of the first projects I did was a pop fiction. I have to thank Damiani for this, because Damiani, right off the bat, kind of really let me do what I wanted to do and was willing to collaborate with me. Because, I was the new guy there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people really knew me except Mike's, and like having this new person come work on something maybe with like a big part is like something not a lot of people would do. But Damiani was very welcoming, and he was like, hey man, you got like ideas, you want to do something? So I did one with him on Demon Souls cut content for
cool.
PopFacts. So that's kind of where it started, I'd say.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I was kind of curious then if I guess, you seem to have an interest in the games industry, but in a parallel dimension, if you weren't able to get into games journalism, is there like another area in the video game industry you think you'd try to get into?
Yeah, I would love to like help make games one day.
Yeah.
In like a game design space. I would really love to do that. So yeah.
Very cool. Is there a dream development studio you'd like to work for? Or something
I don't know. Like, I always really wanted to work at Blizzard at a point because they're local for me. Like, I live close to Blizzard. They're not in the best shape right now, so I'm hoping like things will turn around. Yeah. But I like to work there. Like, Atlas is near me and stuff like that too. There's a lot, Ready at Dawn. There's a lot of great people around here. So yeah.
I didn't realize there was that many studios down in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah, I live in Orange County, which is like, I live like about an hour south of Los Angeles. So, but there's quite a bit down here in Orange County. Okay. Obviously, From Software would be the dream, but that's in Tokyo, and I don't speak Japanese, so I don't think that'll happen.
Take a little training.
Are there any Bandai Namco offices close by?
Yes, I think there's Bandai Namco too. A lot of them are like very hidden, so I don't remember. There's like a lot here, but I can't remember where they all are.
Maybe like jump in on the kind of like
the
localization process
side
for
of
the game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be cool. That's something I'm interested in too. It's like learning more about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Much that really plays a part. I remember a couple years ago seeing an article, I think I was like on Kotaku maybe, about the localization process for Metal Gear Solid 1. And it's like the guy who made the English localization like really played a huge part in how that game turned out in the end.
Have you guys listened to, sorry, not to get off track, but you just brought up Metal Gear Solid, and have you listened to the Game Informer did a podcast about the like all the voice recording and the scripting for that? Have you listened to that one?
I've never heard that. That sounds awesome though.
Yeah, it was when
Ben Hansen was there, right?
When Ben Hansen and Tim Turry were still both there.
Mm-hmm.
They recorded this, and they brought in most of the voice cast, and they did this kind of like round robin interview with them about what it was like recording that.
Yeah,
gotta
that's
hear
super
that.
cool.
It's really cool. It's really good. It's a really good listen. So if you
Yeah,
have
man, I
any
would
interest
love
in
to
kind
do
of like
something like that.
Metal Gear Solid and the history of that, it's
Mhm.
worth going back and listening to. So.
Very
Man,
cool.
I haven't gotten to talk to a lot of like developers in a like a on camera
Mhm.
thing like that. I've talked to a lot of them off camera, which is super cool, and I'm really happy I got to do it. But man, doing like an interview like that would be so rad.
Well, that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
agree.
rolls into my next question. Sometimes when you guys get a little bit of wiggle room at Easy Allies, you come
Hmm.
out with like really interesting, fun shows like Achieve It Yourself or that series Brandon Jones did on mindfulness and video games and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
we had some people just kind of curious if there's any ideas you have kicking around, if you had a chance to,
Yeah.
allocate time and budget for an idea.
Yeah. I mean, usually I'm in review land, and that's kind of
Mhm.
where I am. I do a lot of that kind of stuff, and I feel like I'm on a lot of our podcasts pretty often.
Hmm.
I do have some things I would be kicking around. I don't have any ideas of like I want to do a weekly show. Nothing. I don't
Mhm.
want to do anything like that. I have like some project. Like I'll tell you one thing I wanted to do that I kind of started but had to go on the back burner a little bit was something about Final Fantasy 11 because I recently
Mm,
played it again this year since it came out on PS2, and
yeah.
I kind of wanted to do something about that. And I started it, but I haven't gotten a chance to go back to it. So there's a few things I like to do about some games, but just when and where I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys talked at all about um like doing any more kind of retrospective content?
Kind of. Kind of. Like that's definitely something I really liked. Like some of you might know, I did this Souls retro. Like I wrote all of that.
Yeah,
I played all
yeah,
of
I
it. I
remember that.
captured all of it.
Wow.
Those that takes a really long time to do all that
Mhm.
stuff. And like I love that kind of stuff. Before I was at Game Trailers, like I loved the retrospectives they did, like the Final Fantasy ones. But nowadays there's so many. I feel like you could find a retrospective on anything almost at a point from
Mhm.
someone. Like it's great that
Yeah.
there's so many other people out there doing stuff now, which is awesome. But I mean, yeah, I would love to go back in the history about some games. Like one we always joke about is Dragon Quest because it would be the
Oh
most
man,
insane thing for us
Yeah.
to do.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really like that kind of stuff. So hopefully one day again we'll do some more of it.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I always had a okay, so this is I guess a little bit leading into the debate later, but on Friday I was just looking for something to listen to at work, and so I booted up the Castlevania Retrospective,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just listening to that, and somebody put like a supercut of it together because it's like almost like an hour and 40 minutes long
Mm-hmm.
from start to finish.
Yeah.
So, and the just the production values that on those things, just with all the capture, like you were saying, and the editing, and it was just like I don't feel like I've ever seen anybody really do it better than those were done.
Oh wow, Brandon Jones
So
would be happy to hear you say that.
Yeah.
yeah, and I can say the same for the Souls retrospective. That was equally well done.
Oh, thank you. I will say
Uh,
this: I made one mistake in that retro, and it like will
Haunts
forever
you
haunt
forever.
me. Is I got a date wrong or something. I think
Mm.
I was talking about like Kingsfield, and I said like 19. It was like 1996 or something, and I said, and I might have said like 2006 or something. Like one number was
mhm.
off somewhere,
Yeah.
and of course people were like saw it instantly. I was like, God damn it!
Right.
Yeah.
Like
There
I can't change it. It's out there, so it's just
Right.
it is what it is.
Hopefully they didn't rake you over the coals too hard.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I mean I just like got a pointer. I was kind of bummed about it because it's like the first time I made a big mistake, and everyone else who's done those is just like it just happens, man. Like you do stuff for you work on stuff for months, and you do one slip up, gets through the cracks. It just happens.
As
Yeah.
Well,
someone
the
who
gaming
produces the entire show, like I totally
Yeah,
get it. Like
yeah,
you
Yeah.
make one mistake, you got a bunch of people DMing you like, "Hey, the
yeah,
audio on this person's kind of low," and like, or like the audio's a little too high on this. I can't hear everyone. And you go back and listen to it, and you're like, "There's nothing I can do about it. It's
Yeah.
already
yeah,
been published."
yeah. It's out.
and projects like that. I mean, you have these like super fans, these gamers, and they
Oh
just
Mhm.
yeah.
hang on every word, and they know like
Yeah,
every detail. They're like, yeah, well, actually,
yeah,
no, it was
yeah.
this.
It happens. Like it's cool. Like, it is what it's not that big of a deal, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But
Yeah.
I was just like, ah, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all extremely eager because we all know your reputation as a Souls fan, to talk to you about the new Elden Ring footage. But before
Mm-hmm.
we get into that, do either of you have any specific questions for Brad before we move on?
I don't.
I do. I've got one. I just was curious, like, other than your Souls retrospective, which we just talked about, I'm just wondering, like, what's the like biggest piece of content the piece of content that you produce that you're the most proud of since you've started working
Most
on
proud of?
Yeah.
I don't.
Like-
I don't. I'm trying to think about it. So I was really like I brought it up earlier, but the Demon Souls like pop facts I'm really happy with because it was one of my first things I ever really did where I had a hands-on where it kind of felt like I was a part of this team making something. I don't know if it's maybe the best thing, but it's definitely one of the high points for me, right? I fondly look back at that memory and I'm happy I did it.
That's great, yeah.
Cuz I mean, I would say I'm a pretty reserved person in a lot of ways, and I have it like a lot of people I deal with anxiety and just like stuff like that. I was proud of myself that I pushed through and I like really went for something and I finally made that kind of thing happen. So it was like a self like victory for me, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate with that for sure.
I do have one question. So we all know you're part of Easy Allies and stuff. Is there any like side gigs that you do outside of the gaming space, or?
No. The only thing I would do is so when I was a hairdresser, the guy that trained me, I still go to today. Like me and him are still like good friends. And sometimes I did do this one time I essentially was his assistant for like a couple days to help him through the holidays. So I would help him with clients and stuff like that. And I kind of miss some of that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I would just like to do it maybe like a couple times a year. Like I'm still licensed to cut hair. I could still do it, but I really don't miss it that much because I don't miss standing on my feet for 10 hours a day all the time like that and having to like super like, be like pamper people for 10 hours a day. It gets hard after a long time.
Yeah, I can only imagine being on your feet like that, standing in one spot, kind of like shifting around. Yeah, that'd be hard on you.
Very cool. Well, we'll jump right into it. It's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Elden Ring. Finally, we see a 15-minute gameplay demonstration, and we're all hyped except for maybe Jonah, because he doesn't care about Dark Souls that much. But
okay, I watched it, and my hype level's a little up. What I'm super excited to see is just like a bunch of people coming at From Software for whatever reason, because you look at it and you see a lot of that, a lot of the assets and like animations and stuff, they're pulled straight from Dark Souls. So I'm waiting to see the crowds and hordes of people like, why is this game taking so long if you're just reusing assets? And it's like,
well, the trolls are always out there, you know.
Yeah.
We just had a little bit of a discussion in our Discord, Brad, about I think it's more of like a vocal minority. You know, it's not the consensus, but you know, you see people on social media going like, "Oh, it's just Dark Souls 4," like it's just Dark Souls. And it's like, well, it is just Dark Souls 4, but I'm still excited for that. You know?
Yeah, like who cares? I'm in for it. Why not?
I mean, I think From Software even their like first game, Kingsfield, was like a dark fantasy RPG.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And Dark Souls was an evolution of Demon Souls, and it's like they've just been kind of perfecting as they went along in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I could totally understand the hesitation from a lot of people in the sense of like, maybe this game's not for me. Maybe it's not doing enough different for me. But I will say is I feel like Sekiro was very different from a lot of their past games, and people were like complaining like, there's not enough build variety and stuff like that.
Everyone. Yeah.
So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But games totally aren't for everybody, and I totally get that.
Jonah, what you were mentioning about the like animations and stuff, I think actually I kind of watched that whole presentation over in kind of like 0.75 speed or half speed. Yeah, well, they did I was watching a video where the guy did a breakdown, you know, kind of sharing his thoughts, and just actually when you watch it kind of in slow-mo, I'm actually really kind of impressed with the amount of animation work that's gone in with the new mounts that you have, firing off arrows, the fact that the character's like shifting and twisting on the mount to face whatever like the giant dragon in that fight. and with all the new spells and the bow animations, using a bow in Dark Souls has always been kind of like my dream. That's always seems to
Sure.
be kind of like the super weak parts. Like, yeah, we give you this bow, and then you can shoot like one arrow every like 27
Yeah,
seconds,
like
and it
almost
does kind of
useless.
like
Yeah.
minimum damage. So now you can do like these. Well, you always had like soul arrow or whatever, but it seems like maybe they're trying to make it a little bit more like more of an impactful weapon, and the hitboxes just seem like really, really good on the enemies. I think they've
Yeah, he like
actually
rides
putting a
under the
lot of
head of the
work on there.
dragon on his horse and like hacks with the
Mm-hmm.
sword on a drive-by slash. Yeah, what are kind of your takeaways, Brad, of the 15 minutes of gameplay? Like anything you're particularly excited about or
Um,
trepidatious about?
so the most exciting aspect to me, I guess, is the idea of them presenting an open world, because
Yeah,
they're well
yeah.
known for their world and level design and just how their approach of how they will guide the player through this world.
Hmm.
Like, I think about a lot of open world games, and I think back to Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, I really like this world because it's not littered with question marks or something telling you exactly where to go. I like this game, but I got some problems with it, which is Mortals Phoenix Rising,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
which came out last year. And there's parts of the game to find stuff where you literally just scan over the map and it tells you where stuff. And I was like, man, that really ruins a lot of the sense of discovery and me just wanting to go somewhere because it looks cool instead of a marker telling me to go there.
Yeah.
And From Software games aren't really well known for having markers telling you where to go on a world map or anything like that. So I like to see how they'll handle that.
I do like that
Yeah.
this game is going to have a map though, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's appropriate
Yeah.
if it's a big open world. Yes.
I saw a lot of people commenting about the map and how it was kind of like with the markers seem like so small that you could they like kind of blend in and you have a hard time like seeing everything. I mean, what did you think about the style of the map that they give you?
Oh, the map seemed very basic. I don't think it's going to be like a Metroid. Like, I'm not expecting a Metroid Prime level map here where I'm like, this is an incredible map in a 3D space. To me, it's a very like rough map, I like it because I feel like that's the kind of map a character in that world would have. It's very basic and rough layout. But they show the markers on the world and it lit up like a beacon. To me, that's pretty clear of like, that's your marker. I don't think I'm going to have a hard time noticing that, but it's hard to say and it's easy to speculate things, I guess, until people really get their hands on and dive in.
Sure. I'm kind of curious, Brad, since you played all the games. I know for me personally, I really prefer like the level design of Dark Souls 1 to say like Dark Souls 3. Just because Dark Souls 3 is like so linear with like a couple of branching paths, but Dark Souls 1 is really like intertwined. It gives you a lot of options, and I guess this being an open world, I'm really hoping they give you a lot of freedom in the order you want to tackle like the main dungeons and stuff, and that kind of harkens more back to Dark Souls 1 with a little bit more freedom and how you want to go about things.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love that level of freedom. Like Dark Souls 1 is like, yes, there's a lot of paths, especially at the beginning, but things kind of narrow down as you go through that game. But I think it does a really good. What is important is the game makes you feel free and like you can do anything. I think that's going to be a common thing in this also. Maybe not like Breath of the Wild where like you got these 4 areas you want to go to these beasts and you could do them in any order. Maybe it'll be like that. I have no idea.
That would be kind of cool.
But hey, the more freedom, the better. But I hope the story lines up with it well. Like one thing I have with Breath of the Wild that I don't like is how the story's presented.
Me
I
too.
didn't
Of
even think about that.
Me too.
From Software's story is very different. They're delivering, like how they deliver a story is very different. So I hope it all just fits together nicely.
You know what I got a real, and this is maybe kind of a strange thought, but I got a lot of vibes of like Darksiders 2. Gameplay.
Yeah.
Because in that game you did have kind of like a lot of these kind of like small shrines or like side areas that you could go to and explore. And there was kind of like a main path, and it wasn't like a gigantic open world. Like this definitely looks like more of an open world, but you did have to kind of like get on your horse and kind of like ride over to this area or that area. And there was a lot of side stuff to explore. And it just kind of gave me sort of similar vibes. I don't know if that's a
Yeah,
apt
yeah, I could see
comparison or
that.
not.
Yeah, I could see that. I like Darksiders too. That's my favorite one, I guess, out of all three of them.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty good.
yeah.
What your like? So I guess the most appealing thing to me is that they kind of said that they were gonna open this game up more to like co-op and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's gonna work? Do you think it's gonna be like, because I've heard rumors that it's gonna have like 4-player co-op, and I've heard that it's only gonna be 2-player, and I just like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it'll be very similar to past From Software
Yeah.
games.
Okay.
Like how they handle co-op, you can do it in some areas and stuff like that. I don't think you're going to be rolling with 10 people deep. I would say maybe you get like 3, maybe 4 people in an area at once. I don't think
Okay.
it'll be like too huge though.
Dark Souls 3, I think you could get upwards to, what was it? Was
I
it
think a
6?
maximum of 6, both
Yeah.
enemies and
Yeah.
co-op.
Yeah, it was more, yeah.
Brad, I've been playing Neo 2 recently with a buddy, and the way the co-op works in the, because it's like obviously those are like Souls likes, but
Yeah.
you can literally like play through the entire game co-op. Like you can go into a mission at the same time and both get credit for like clearing the mission and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of wondering what your thoughts are on the Dark Souls style co-op. If you mind it at all, or if you do wish it was more like comprehensive, like you could just play through the whole game with someone. Or
I think I prefer to play these games when I go through them my first time by myself.
yeah,
I don't like to summon anyone because that's just how I
Sure.
like. I just like to experience it super raw,
yeah,
like
yeah.
one-on-one with guys. I got no problem with co-op or doing like. I think that's fun, and I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of like a co-op thing throughout the whole game. Like if you could play it, if they make it easier, to go through the whole game with someone co-op, like I'm totally fine with that. I like the game changes though. I think a lot, like
Oh,
how
yeah,
you approach everything changes complete with co-op. So I hope if co-op is introduced in a more stable manner where you can do the whole game, it doesn't replace the single player thing because I think there's value in both.
Mhm.
Cool.
What is your impressions of what they showed off for the, I'm not sure what the official term for the system is, but like the spirits where you can like capture enemy
Yeah,
spirits
the
and
like
summon them
ash
in
things.
combat? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of adds like a fun Pokemon-esque element to it,
Yeah.
I guess. Like you collecting these things. And I like some of these things I bet are gonna be super goofy because it's from software, and I'm really excited for that. And to me, that's like a new, just an extra layer of like almost an RPG-esque character builder. Like you could, it seems like you could build almost your character now of this, you could be a summoner kind of thing
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's something that you've never really had besides other players.
Mhm.
So like I know a lot of people are into the idea of role playing as characters, and to me it's just an extra layer of depth to gameplay that you have now.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of interesting because I've been playing a mod for Dark Souls 3 called can't remember what it's called, but it's so crazy because they literally did implement a summoner class in this mod. So there's like a character you could play as, or if you use a certain item, it summons an NPC enemy depending on the area that you're in. And instead of spending your souls upgrading your stats, you can buy like items that buff your summons and stuff. It's really
Yeah, that's
crazy,
really
but
cool. Yeah,
yeah, it's cool to
I love
see.
ideas like that.
Yeah, it makes me curious if From Software's paid attention to what modders have done with the games and brought some of those ideas over, and what else they might have brought over.
Yeah, I think they've
kind of exciting.
probably looked at some of those things.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a lot more of a bent on magic in this game. I don't know
Oh
if you have
yeah.
the same opinion, but from what they've shown, it like obviously there was a good amount of melee, but the character that they were playing used a ton of spells in this game. So I wonder if they're gonna like maybe lean into that more just to try to like maybe like more like cross or like hybrid builds, maybe more so than there was in the past.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more magic than ever, like we said with the summons kind of thing. And I think it's appropriate to show off the magic, especially in this, because the last game we had from them was Sekiro with no magic. So now they're like, hey, you wanted more build variety or something like that? Here you go. Here's a bunch of cool new magic spells for you.
Yeah.
You turn your arm into like a dragon's head and just like roast dudes. That's sick.
And it looks like the weapon arts kind of things back, so there'll probably be some more of those. And like weapon arts to me are almost an essential thing with magic, a separate like side of the coin to magic. So I think there'll be a lot of variety in that sense.
I like the quick swap weapons. It looks like you can hot swap weapons easier maybe in this game as well than you could in the
Yeah,
past. It looks like
maybe.
they're doing more like combos. I think he was using like his
Oh,
sword
sure.
and he like whipped out a hammer or something
Mhm.
like and
Sure.
you know, followed up with a smash or something. That was pretty cool. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's going to be more like the kind of like the trick weapons in Bloodborne. Not exactly where you're like changing the weapon specifically, but just your ability to like quickly shift in and out of
Oh,
what you're using.
that would
Yeah.
be pretty. That would be pretty sick. Like,
Yeah, if they can make the synergy better between switching weapons. It reminds me of Devil May Cry 4,
mhm.
like
yeah.
with the different styles you had with stuff like that. I guess you could count count a weapon as a different style. Maybe
Sure.
if I don't know if like if you have 2 weapons equipped, if it makes you heavier or anything like that. If they emphasize more switching a weapon, depending on what circumstance you're in.
Gotcha.
How much fat rolling will there be?
Well,
Man, I feel like fat rolling kind of died after Dark Souls 1. It seems like probably not a lot because they know people like to roll around.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I think you're right.
I'm curious, Brad, what your opinion was on the jump, because I personally just think, like, I'm glad the jump's in the game, and I'm glad the gameplay implications of it. I think it'll be awesome. But like, I just think the jump animation looks like super goofy, and I was just wondering what your
sure.
opinion of it was.
Here's the headcanon you can give yourself though, is that you are probably wearing really heavy clothes and a lot of armor, so you're gonna jump like an idiot and look like an idiot. You're not gonna be super graceful. That's like the weird headcanon I would give myself.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm just glad you don't have to like sprint and then hit R3 or whatever to jump.
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
like
yeah, that's garbage. I hated
that
that.
was insta death
Yeah.
every time for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. I guess I don't know for sure, but it certainly appears in the trailer that fall damage just isn't a thing anymore, or if it is, it's extremely inconsequential. So
maybe I feel
Yeah.
like every From Software game I'd played, the fall damage would feel different to me.
Mm,
Like the height would always change. Sometimes you die really fast. Sometimes you would live longer than you think. So I think it's just gonna be one of those cases again.
sure.
I think it'd be weird if they made something where you don't die from falling off stuff, especially in an open world where the world
Yeah.
exploring it should be a danger.
Mm,
Maybe you could get something later on to help you with that, but I think you'll probably die.
I do like
Yeah.
like in the beginning when you hop on your horse and then you're like the dude jumps off the cliff and then he's got like the little like pads that he's jumping down on with
Yeah,
his
those
horse.
are
I
cool.
thought that
Those
was
are cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah.
They had all the HUD elements turned off though, so you really don't know what
Sure.
you're
Yeah.
gonna get with
They're
that.
hiding some of that probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I do have to get your opinion, Brad, on the sleep arrows, because I know they've been quite contentious online. Like, a lot of people think they might make the game too easy. But from what you've seen of them,
Oh, I mean, I just don't think those are going to work on everything.
yeah,
Like
Fair
he's in that footage, he's fighting very basic,
yeah,
like grunts essentially. I think
Mhm.
some of those arrows like may not be able to cheese everything as what you hope or as you hope.
yeah. I'm wondering, sort of amongst your play styles, guys, since they shut off a little bit of dungeon crawling in one of the major dungeons in the gameplay. It seems like there's multiple ways to go about approaching the dungeon, like different avenues to make your way through it. Kind of like
Mhm.
if every dungeon in the game was like doing Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild. And but I gotta know, like, are you gonna try to find the best way to get through as fast as you can to get the boss, or are you gonna like backtrack and comb like every single room of the dungeon to get all the loot?
If I play this game, which is a big if because I'm not like the biggest like Souls fan,
Sure.
I am gonna stealth the hell out of this game.
Okay.
Because
Sleep
it is an
arrows, let's
option now.
Yeah,
That's
we
it.
didn't really touch on the stealth aspect, which I think is that's a completely brand new system, right? I mean, you could like
To Souls
you
games,
could like
yeah.
run by enemies before, really, but there wasn't
Yeah.
like any kind of active stealth mechanic
Yeah.
where you're like getting down
Crouching,
and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
crouching through. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that's implemented and how effective that is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess the question of exploring these areas, I'm very much a person of I want to see everything in this whole
Yeah.
area. I will be mad if I miss something. If there's an area I haven't been to, I will go back and see everything I can at the time before I fight the boss.
Very cool.
I'm with Brad on that.
Yeah,
Absolutely, you gotta
Gotta get
comb
all the
through
loot.
everything.
Yeah.
Gotta
Even
go
if it's like
spirits.
it's like,
Gotta get all the
woo, I
spells.
found like 50 souls over in this room,
Yeah.
and there's like 18 demons in here with me.
Sure. My last real question is, Brad, your opinion of Alexander the Iron Fist, because I've seen it go both. It seems like people just love him or hate him online. I was wondering if you like him or not.
Oh, I
The
mean,
character
yeah,
design.
I like him because I
Yeah.
like From Software's characters, and to me, From Software, like, they make very dark games,
Mhm.
very brutal games, but they always have some weird, goofy humor in them. In some cases, like Siegward and Seameyer, characters
Yeah.
like that. To me, he's gonna fill that kind of role. So, hey, I'm in for. He's like a talking jar. I'm super into that.
Yeah. Do you think we will be able to see what's inside of Iron Fist Alexander at some point?
Yes, I feel like at some point.
I hope so.
I don't trust him. He doesn't have like an evil, conniving chuckle, and
Mhm.
so I don't think you can trust anybody in a FromSoft game that doesn't laugh maniacally.
He reminded me of Pothead from Death's Door.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, I was
Mhm.
gonna say the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you letting us pick your brain about Elden Ring,
Oh,
Brad. But I'm going to go turn things over to Jonah for our debate section. Take it away, Jonah.
We got to go back home to the debate, baby. We got to go back
Yeah.
home to the great game debate. And today we have Brad representing Classicvania, the OG Castlevania games, and we've got Wes representing the Igavania games, the new ones, the ones you're more accustomed to, the ones that when you think of Metroidvania, those are the Castlevanias you're usually thinking of. So, as always, we've got the 2-minute opening statement, 2-minute rebuttal, and then the 2-minute closing, and then that'll be it. Each person will get to do their opening, close, and then, or opening, close, and then rebuttal, then close. Jeez, I'm messing up. Caden will be your assist trophy today. You have an extra 30 seconds to just call on him at one point during your debate. And you know what, lads? I think we should get this thing rolling. Brad, I've got a coin right here. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Okay, it is heads. Wes, would you like to start us out or close it out?
I'm gonna start.
You're gonna start. All right.
Mhm.
I got 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready, sir?
Hold on, give me 1 second here.
Oh.
I got to represent here if I'm going to be debating Castlevania.
For audio listeners, Wes just transformed from an Easy Ally sweater to a Castlevania t-shirt.
Oh, a Castlevania show based off a Castlevania 3 from the NES. That's the classic style.
Oh no, it's already backfiring on me. Oh no.
All right, Wes.
All right.
Are you ready to go into battle?
I will do my best.
All right. 3, 2, 1, debate.
Listen, if I'm going to whip some vampire ass in Dracula's castle, there's only one way that I want to do it. I'm talking about exploration here, and that is by actually exploring Dracula's castle. I want to see a whole map that I can explore room to room as I please. Let me tell you, there is absolutely nothing that's more satisfying than getting that 100% plus map completion. The game even does you the service of adding your completion on the map screen, and it is oh so satisfying to fill that thing in, going from room to room. Let's talk a minute about movement in the more current Metroidvania, Igavania games. You have much more ability to move. Everything is more fluid. Everything is more tight. You can dash. You can double jump. You can slide. You can transform. Although Richter does have a pretty cool backflip in Rondo of Blood, it's just not the same as the level of control that you have in Igavania Castlevanias. when they switched over to to Metroidvania style Castlevania, they added so much more to the games that you couldn't do in the originals. There were RPG elements. You could level up. You can grow more powerful. You can buff your stats. You get new weapons and equipment that you don't have in the original game that buff your stats, that completely change your attacks. It's so much better in terms of the actual combat in the game. It's not stiff, and it's varied and in general much better. There's a bevy of weapons that you have.
Oh, we won't get to hear about the bevy of weapons.
maybe the closing.
All right, Brad, how are you feeling, man? You ready for your opening statement?
Oh yeah, I think so.
All right, sir.
Do my best. We're just gonna wing it. We'll see how it goes.
Heck yeah. 3, 2, 1, debate.
Okay, so let's talk about Castlevania, the traditional way of going through a castle. Yes, the Metroidvanias are great. I do love them for exploring the castle in and out, but one of the most appealing parts to me of the originals is completely lost in these games, which is the danger of the castle itself. Going through a Metroidvania, you're just cruising through there. You're not worried about obstacles. You're not worried about any of that. You're just worried about what are the random enemies going to come through here. But the originals, the castle will take you down if you're not careful. You're going upstairs. You're riding across giant clock things. You know, there's spikes. There's everything's willing to kill you in this. Not just nightmarish creatures like that. I'm talking about the castle itself. And there's a beautiful simplicity to the gameplay. It's very simple. You got your whip, your whacking guys, but the game will push your limits. You will have to master this system. Easy to understand, hard to master. There's nothing better than just being Simon Belmont, walking through that castle, jumping up in the air, Castlevania 4, swinging down, right, cracking a skeleton right in the head. Doesn't get much better than that. And we're talking big boss fights at the end of each area. We're not talking about some random side boss. We're talking about like Frankenstein. We're talking about Dracula himself. We're taking these suckers down. And the sub-weapons can make and break every single stage. Things completely change with these. Deciding what you decide to bring with you in each stage could completely change it. Yes, they're in the other ones, but... Oh,
30
actually,
seconds.
I want to tag in for the 30-second thing.
Okay.
I want to hear what that is. I would like to hear something about that.
All right, Caden.
All right, boosting old school Castlevania, man. Let me just tell you about laser focused game design. Like trim the fat, just hone to a polished, sharp edge. All that needs to be there, and I feel like the gameplay still holds up today. Yes, it is difficult. Yes, it's challenging, but in a similar way to Dark Souls, you overcome it. You get that. Cathartic release of the challenge, and the game just like speed running as an aspect. Like it's so fun to just do one more go. Like through Castlevania, get better and better. Oh, dang it.
Brad, you still got 30 seconds. Would you like to use those?
I also think they're a little more balanced than the Symphony of the Night kind of ones in Metroidvanias, where you can't break the game as easily. You have to really master your skills, and like we said earlier, the level design is super tight, and it feels like you're going through an actual gauntlet instead of backstepping your way through the whole entire thing. That's it, I guess.
All right. Nice.
I love both, though, so don't get mad at me.
No, it's all good.
Nobody gets mad. It's all for fun.
All right, Wes, how are you feeling after that opening statement of Brad's?
Man, Brad really brought it.
Oh, yeah.
All I can say is, what a horrible night to have a curse.
Oh.
All right, we got 2 minutes on the clock. Let's start out your rebuttal, Wes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, like I don't have a lot of hate for classic Castlevania. I think they're actually really great games. But what I will say is I feel like they are extremely challenging, but in the wrong way. Like I mentioned before, they have extremely kind of like stiff movement and gameplay. It can be very frustrating while you're trying to play through and master it. Have you ever tried going upstairs in Castlevania? Like trying to position the guy so that he can like go up the stairs at an angle, all the while you got Medusas flying at you, you get hit. The knockback in those games is extremely frustrating. You just get knocked into a pit, knocked into a pit. It's tough, and it's just frustrating. Needlessly frustrating, I'll say. There's no real exploration, like I mentioned. occasionally the best thing you can expect out of this is to find some meat in a wall. You know, that's about all you can get. I'd like to briefly touch base on Simon's Quest. It pushed the boundaries of the series in a lot of ways, but it was so dang obscure that you had to use a guide just to figure out what the heck to do. You can't even progress in the game if you don't. I mean, come on, standing next to a cliff for 5 seconds, holding a ruby or a gem or something, waiting for a tornado to appear and take you to the next area. Like, who's going to figure that out by themselves? Certainly not me when I was 7 years old and I first bought that game.
30 seconds.
There were so many invisible blocks that you just fall through and just instantly die in that game. Man, and then when you get to the end, Dracula was a pushover. There wasn't even any real challenge. So I know I'm harping specifically on Simon's Quest here, but that was kind of a weird one. I think that the formula is good in classic Castlevania, but it can be so much better than it is. Look at Curse of the Moon 1 and 2. I think that's the way to make a really good classic Castlevania game these days.
All right, very good rebuttal, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the heat on Simon's Quest for sure. All right, Brad.
It's easy to rag on the bad one.
Yeah. I'm
All
going
right.
to take a weird approach on this.
All right, Brad.
I'm ready.
Ooh.
You're ready for your
Yep.
rebuttal. Let's go.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
So I'm going to bring it back immediately to Simon's Quest. I'm going to say Simon's Quest more aligns with a Igavania style of Castlevania. You're not going through stages in this game. You're going back and forth throughout this whole land, through these mansions, eventually to fight Dracula. You're backtracking. You're opening up new areas you haven't been to before with new power-ups. So I would say that falls more in line with a Metroidvania. And yes, I agree. Simon's Quest 2 does suck. I really dislike that game a lot. But I feel like taking the sense of danger out of Dracula's castle, which you get in the Metroidvanias, is a big problem, and it really lowers the intensity of actually going into this castle. To me, it just ends up feeling like a backdrop. Yes, it's beautiful and they have great design, but I feel like the character and the challenge that the castle would present you and its layouts was part of the character of the castle itself, and I think it's completely gone in a lot of ways. They try to throw in some things here and there, but they're never very good. Also, the Metroidvanias peaked with Symphony of the Night, and they never actually lived up to Symphony of the Night, so I feel like that's a problem, while the classic ones had a nice upward trajectory, especially with Castlevania 4 and Rondo of Blood. Now I gotta think about Metroidvanias. What do I not also like about them? This is very hard. Yeah, I just feel like a lot of the personality and the challenges left out of these Metroidvanias. They can be challenging, but I just feel like it's much more cakewalk. There's something beautiful about mastering those games. To me, a Symphony of the Night or a Metroidvania feels like you're just cruising through, like Devil May Cry style, shooting and airlifting every guy. But when you're playing an old school Castlevania, it's very slow and methodical of what you're doing, more like a Dark Souls kind of way, I would say. And I just think that's an approach I prefer more. I feel like everything's a threat instead of me just casually chopping enemies in half in 1 second for 10 minutes. That's it.
Awesome.
All
right, Wes. We're going to get our closing statements.
Yep. I'm going to choose to open my closing statement with my assist trophy.
Oh, starting it with Caden. All right, Caden.
Nice.
You got your 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go.
All right. So, man, the bosses of the original Castlevania kind of suck. They're just extremely abusable and can be killed almost in seconds if you know what you're doing with the sub weapons. And I felt like iconic Castlevania bosses didn't come until the Igavanias. Like when I think of like iconic bosses, I think of something like Legion, which hopefully I'm correct and Legion didn't exist before the old bosses, but just really memorable, cool boss battles in Igavanias, in my opinion.
All right, Wes, let's roll right into it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so just kind of rolling off of what Caden mentioned, I actually fought Legion last night in RF Sorrow, and that game still holds up from GBA back in 2004, I think. But yeah, I kind of disagree with Brad. I think that that it peaked with Symphony of the Night. I think that a lot of those other games are just as good. particularly Order of Ecclesia, I think was really cool. As far as the enemies, I think most of the enemy types that were truly like more interesting, I didn't think showed up until the Igavanias. We're talking about the golems, like we mentioned, Legion, Viewer, enemies like Malthus, Wargs, Dagon, Chimera, Manticore, Baylor, Rusalkas, Abaddon, Beelzebub, Adremalek, and Pazuzu. All new enemies that showed up. Otherwise, you're just basically whipping skeletons and fishmen. And then, obviously the classic kind of universal group of monsters. I will say, we're talking about Symphony of the Night has one of the single best twists in all of video games with the upside down castle. That was in Igavania. Igavania stretched the timeline and the lore of the series outside of just the Belmonts, so it went a long ways to kind of like progress the games. I feel like that the classic Vanias didn't have characters like Shinoa, Albus, and the Order of Ecclesia,
30
Soma
seconds.
Cruz, Nathan Graves, Hugh Baldwin, a lot more of the Morris family. There's a lot more modes that you have in Igavanias. They have the best version of Alucard in that game, which is the version that they went on to pull in the animated series. And Symphony of the Night was revolutionary for kind of setting the standard for what a Metroidvania is, so much that there's a lot of homages specifically to that game, like Bloodstained, Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth, and Time Spinner.
Time.
Good show, chaps.
All right, Brad. You got 2
Oh,
minutes.
is this just one more rebuttal thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just
This
it's not a rebuttal, it's your closing. So
It's
yeah,
your
Oh, okay.
Closing
just
thoughts.
chat up your stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Final thoughts, sir. You got 3, 2, 1, go.
Castlevania, the originals, is a through and through challenge and a journey that you'll feel proud of when you go through. Making your way through this castle is not a simple task. Battling Dracula's hordes is not easy. Navigating the castle itself is not easy. And once you get there, you're gonna feel real damn good. I will say that I think the Metroidvanias have a lot of different playstyles, which I appreciate, but I will say that Castlevania the originals made some nice strides to vary up the gameplay, especially with 3, with multiple playable characters and different routes you could take, adding some replay value. And Rondo of Blood, of course, had Maria you could unlock, who completely changes the game, and going through different routes in that game also adds some replay value. Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of these, but I feel like there's a nice, beautiful, simplistic design in the original Castlevanias. It's not out, it doesn't try to get crazy too much, it doesn't do anything that feels like it just breaking the whole game. You can't just get one item and steamroll it like you can in some of the other games. You're going to earn your way through this, and you're going to feel like a damn monster killer when you finish one.
Ooh,
What a quote.
I love that.
Nice.
Ending it there.
Yeah.
All
That's
right. leaving 40 seconds on the table. I love it. That's some confidence right there. All right, Caden. Give me your thoughts. How are you feeling after this debate?
The first thing that's in my head is when Wes mentioned Order of Ecclesia, I had a PTSD attack of that crab boss. Does anybody remember this boss? Holy crap,
boss
that's probably
is
one of
super
the
hard.
hardest bosses in gaming. And it has resistance to everything except for like bludgeoning damage, so you have to use a hammer or something. And even when you do, you're not doing that much damage, and it's just like insane like pattern recognition and an extremely long drawn out fight. Holy crap. But yeah, that I guess it depends on the Igavania, but definitely like Order of Ecclesia is like almost as stiff of a challenge as like Castlevania. But
that's the one I haven't played yet. So
it's so hard,
I'm
dude.
very happy to hear you guys speak highly of it, because I
Yeah.
always want to play it.
That's actually my favorite one of all.
I know, I've heard good things, so
Yeah.
I'll need to get around it someday.
But yeah, if I'm having to choose between the arguments, I have to say I'm a little bit these days leaning a little more towards Brad's argument, because Igavanias are almost like a one and done for me. Like it's like such a long marathon to get through one of those games, and having flashbacks to like grinding by like running through a door and killing an enemy right in front of the door, and then running back to the door, and then running through it again, so the monster respawns and killing it again, and doing it like 100 times to make it drop a weapon or something. It's just like, ugh, and like, but if I want to like sit down like tonight and have a good time with a Castlevania game, like I think I'm more inclined to go back to these old school arcadey ones that I can knock out in a couple hours. So, and especially playing something like Curse of the Moon, the spiritual successor, it's just given me a lot more of a appreciation for that type of design. I feel like old school Castlevania game design has untapped potential and it's just being like left on the table by like modern game developers. But yeah, so my gut reaction is to give it to Brad on this one.
All right.
It's the one I want to play.
Fair enough.
So with my personal experience, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Castlevania, but I have back in the day when I was a wee little lad. We did have I don't even know what one it was. It was one on the Super Nintendo, and like that game kicked my ass. And I had such a hard time. Granted, I was only like 5, so it was like just beating my head against the wall. But there's something about Wes's argument with like oh god, what was the game with the reverse castle? What was that one?
Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the
Yeah.
Night. Like I've only heard like
A
nothing
legend.
but great things about that game, and like how awesome like
Oh, it's
twists
awesome.
are, and like the gameplay. So you know what? I think I'm gonna have to give it to Wes for me personally, just because I feel like those games have been a little bit more impactful on the industry as well.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question that they've been more impactful.
Yeah.
Look at the indie scene. There's like a million Metroidvania kind of games.
Yeah.
One thing I will say to support Brad's argument a little bit, because it was something that, and it didn't come up, but I think it's worth mentioning. Classic Castlevania games, I feel like, have the best music in all of Castlevania.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Metroidvania games or the Igavania games, they have good music. When you go back and you listen to the soundtracks on the old games, I mean, that's what comes to my mind when I think Castlevania.
Iconic for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, yeah. I actually think Symphony of the Night has like one of might be the best one in my opinion, just all around. Because yes, I love the original ones, but I think Symphony of the Night just has so much and so varied and different sounds that I just like love that soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack too. I mean, Castlevania overall is well known for its music, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the classic games, when you think about like even amongst the best music on the NES, or the Super Nintendo, I think
they're right there.
And Rondo is amazing too. So
Just shout out real quick. My brother started getting into amateur modding on PC, and he just modded into Devil May Cry 5. He replaced the battle music as Dante with like that classic track from the original NES Castlevania. I don't know what it's called, but it's like da 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 da. So it's like that's going while you're killing demons in Devil May Cry 5. It's really cool. Yeah.
All right, and to close out the debate, we have our scores from our last week's debate, and
tell Brad what the debate was so he knows what it was.
Oh yeah.
So we had our great game mistakes was the play on the name, and we put Anthem versus Knack at which game was quote unquote worse, and Anthem took the win 9-1.
I tried. 9-1. Nobody voted for me at all.
To be fair, the one was like the placeholder one that I put down, so
Yeah.
people
So
could
it's
just
actually
click on
like
it.
8-0.
These people have not played Knack, and it shows. Well, Brad, I know you and Hubert kind of like champion.
Oh yeah,
Knack,
I think
right?
Knack sucks, but
Right as Hubert.
I've played both, but I would give it to Anthem just because of what they showed that game and said it was going to be, and just what it turned out to be. Like Knack is what Knack they said it was Knack was going to be.
That's a good point. I don't think anybody brought that point in the debate. All right, cool. Well, we all set, Jonah, to head into break. All right. We'll see you in a minute. All right, we are back from our break and we're going to roll right into the pitch, wherein a couple of us will have 2 minutes to do an elevator pitch for a game, and the rest of the panelists will decide if they will buy the game or not. I'll go ahead and go first and nominate myself to walk up to the pitcher's mound. And the game I am bringing this week is called Unsighted. Jonah or Wes, do either of you want to get a timer going for me?
Already got you, baby.
Oh, cool. All right.
2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Holy crap. I've only played this game for like 3 or 4 hours, and it's like I'm already super addicted to it. It's probably my goatee. I just played another super sick indie called Inscription. That was my goatee, and this is like kind of overtaking it. But
wow,
man, people are sleeping on this game. It's just incredible. It's just everything about it is done so well, and the systems interlock so well. It's like an action RPG, top-down, pixel art, platforming. There's kind of like dungeons, kind of like Zelda with environmental puzzles, and there's a lot of like interesting freedom in your build variety. So the setup is you're in the future and you're an android, and in a world where humans have destroyed the element that androids need to attain self-awareness and have killed themselves through war. All the androids are slowly going insane. It's kind of like the undead in Dark Souls. So you have all these insane androids running around that have lost like self-awareness and are just attacking everything in sight, and those are your main enemies. But what's really crazy about this is it actually plays into the gameplay where every single NPC in the game that's not turned, they call them unsighted, the androids that are insane and attacking you. So all of the NPCs that you can interact with, they usually serve an important function, like they train you with new combat arts, or they sell blueprints for crafting, or they make you better at crafting, or they can upgrade your weapons, or they sell you items. They're all on a timer because they're running out of this resource that maintains their self-awareness. So you actually obtain this resource in the game called Meteor Dust that adds 24 hours to their lifespan, and it's up to you on who you want to save, and your efficacy and speed in the game matters, because if you can beat the game faster, more people will live. You can also choose to use Meteor Dust for selfish ends to make your healing items more numerous and more powerful and just let people die. There's just so much more. It's amazing. Right. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question just to kind of kick it off here. So I've seen several articles that have mentioned this game. We've already talked about Metroidvanias quite a bit already in the debate and everything, but I've heard people say, "Oh, this is the best Metroidvania game this year." To me, with the gameplay that I've seen, it doesn't really look like a Metroidvania game. So, can you tell me, like, is this a Metroidvania style game, or is it not a Metroidvania style game?
You must open your mind, Wes. You're being distracted by the fact that it's a top-down instead of a left-right side scroller. But besides that, it's a Metroidvania because the way the game is structured is essentially there's 5 key items you need to collect to beat the game, like Chaos Emeralds and Sonic or whatever, and they're placed in different areas around the world map. The world map is open and it suggests an order in which to do them from easiest to hardest, but you can do them in any order. And the game doesn't actually like give you like key items from in dungeons that you use to like fight the boss or like to do stuff like that. You actually just get them like outside the dungeon. Like there's these big like rubble barriers that are blocking your progress, and you have to get a grenade launcher to destroy those to move to the next area. There's these like switches you have to like hit to like cause platforms to appear and move for platforming and getting to secret areas, and you get a giant shuriken that you use like Yuffie that you can like control its path, like the boomerang, the magic boomerang in Zelda, to like hit that stuff. So you can get all those tools outside the dungeons and then choose to like tackle the dungeons in any order. So you do have those like power upgrades to go backtrack through the environment and get secrets, and you can do a lot of the game in any order. So I think those are like the Metroidvania elements. It's just on its face, I think people see a top-down game like 2D Zelda and they don't think Metroidvania, you know?
Yeah, I was just kind of like wondering what's kind of like inhibiting your progress, that you have to like what power-ups you would have to do to actually progress further in the game.
Yeah.
And whether or not that was actually something that because
Mhm.
you made it sound like you could kind of like pick and choose where you want to go,
Mhm.
kind of at any point. So
Yeah.
so
So
typically
you do need to like get certain key items to be able to go to certain areas, but it's kind of like on you to find those items. It's not like you can't get it until a certain point. It's like
Mhm.
you just have to know where it is or find it on your own or listen to an NPC and then go find them and then the world opens up. So it is technically all open at the beginning. You just got to find those key items, but they're not in the dungeon. So if you get them, you can then do the game in any order that you want. So
Okay,
if that makes
Cool.
any sense.
So,
yeah, it
Caden,
does.
how much anime bullshit would you say is in this game?
Like none. Like the art style kind of looks anime a little bit, but not really. It's more like the character portraits, but it's not that anime. The developer is not Japanese. It's not anime tropes. So the level of anime bullshit is extremely low. Like it's not really a thing in this game. So don't let that deter you.
It wouldn't deter me. I just, like you
Yeah, it
said,
says it
big
tells it
shuriken,
Arazu.
and I was like, oh, okay. So we're talking like
Yeah,
Naruto
that's kind of a
status
fair
or
point,
something.
but yeah, not like that.
Okay.
One thing I do have to point out is that there's an NPC in the game that runs a dog shelter, and he's got a gross, weird spider robot body, and he longs to be able to live long enough if you choose to give him your meteorite dust to build himself a pair of humanoid hands with which to pet the dogs. And the dogs have all escaped, so if you comb the open world, you could find the dogs and bring them back to the shelter. But you can choose a dog as a companion to follow you as you play through the game, and they each have different stats, like how fast they move or how much damage they do. And it's like a little companion that just follows you around and helps you fight enemies, and you can pet them and you can feed them and they take naps. Like it's really great.
That
But yeah,
sounds
I
super
mean,
jolly.
it's so jolly. Yeah, I mean, I guess if nobody has any other questions, we can move on.
I have a question. Sorry, Brad, I didn't mean to like cut you
Oh
off in case
no.
you had any
I was
questions
just
about the
gonna say,
game,
what
but
was this called again?
Called Unsighted. Yeah,
Unsighted.
you should
Okay.
look it up. Yeah, it's on Steam.
my question is I get really high anxiety when I'm playing a game where
Mm-hmm,
I'm kind of on a timer.
mm-hmm.
And so how stressful is it playing this game knowing that the clock is always ticking? Like does it actively like show like a timer ticking down, or does it take a certain chunk off as you move through areas like room to room, or how does that
So
mechanic work?
there's like a 24-hour clock in the top right corner, and it's like in real time, it's like a minute equals an hour, and it's like it's ticking down in real time. And when
Mhm.
you talk to an NPC next to their character portrait, it shows how much time they have left to live, and then you have a journal where it creates an entry for that character, and at any time you can like look in the journal to see how much time that character has left. And the game also alerts you when a character has 24 hours left to live. But on top of that, because I know some people just cannot deal with the stress of this kind of mechanic, like bounce off a Majora's Mask, like I get it. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome and really dynamic and interesting gameplay choices. But if you can't handle it, the developers listen to the feedback because a lot of people are saying they couldn't handle it. And they just added a mode to the game that turns off the timer. So if it sounds like the time mechanic is too stressful for you, you can just turn it off, explore at your leisure, have as much time as you want.
That's
It's
cool.
all gravy. Yeah.
Then
Are
does
you
that
having a hard time kind of like figuring out which NPCs you want to, give your moon dust or whatever to like extend their
Well,
life, or is
it's
it
kind of funny because
pretty
yeah,
easy in terms of
there's
like
some
this
like
guy's a jerk?
obvious choices. Like all the characters are like likable. There's not really anyone who's like a jerk, but
Damn it.
there's like a character that like is responsible for upgrading your weapons. So like it's like if you had to choose if you wanted like the Crestfallen Knight in Dark Souls to live or Andre the Blacksmith. It's like 9 times out of 10 you're picking Andre the Blacksmith, you know? So there's certain characters that like the service they provide just doesn't seem that important. But what I will say is each character they have a project that they're working on that they can't finish unless they live long enough. So one of the characters, it's like a powerful gun because this game has melee weapons and has guns, like ranged weapons. So like this one character, he's like, God, I hope I live long enough to finish this powerful weapon that you could use to like help save us all or whatever. So if you choose not to give him your meteorite dust, he'll just die and you'll never get that weapon. So it's like pretty interesting choices.
So if you get rid of the time, like the countdown timer, how does that just mean everyone's gonna live at the end and then you
Yeah,
don't have to
so
worry about it,
that
or
that's where it just comes down to personal preference. Because for me, like taking out the timer just kind of like neuters a lot of what makes the game great. But at the same time, if that's too stressful for you and you just want to be able to take as much time as you need, then I think it's better for that mode to be there because people who otherwise just wouldn't play the game at all will play the game now. And then maybe later on they'll play with the timer on. So it does like take a lot of the experience out to turn the timer off, but
but
it's up to
does
you.
that mean you could just get like the ultra good ending and everyone
Yeah, so everybody's
survives
gonna live
and
if you turn the timer
you
off.
always
Yeah.
get like the badass ultimate weapons and you can upgrade
Yes.
said badass
Yes.
okay.
Story mode, baby.
Story mode, baby. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
what's a runtime for this? How long is it usually? Like an
I have no
average.
idea. I haven't beaten it yet.
Okay.
So
I think I looked it up just kind of haphazardly, and I think it's like 7 to 8 hours
Oh, that's not too
cool.
bad.
thereabouts.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not like a 20-hour
Mhm.
game or anything. I don't
It
think.
has like a very Majora's Mask vibe because you have all these NPCs. You're like trying to figure out what their deal is. You can help them or not, and got a time limit. So yeah, it's
And
pretty cool. It's
how
pretty
much
cool.
was it?
It's only like
Oh,
$20.
that's not too bad.
Yeah, and then that's full price, so I'm sure it'll go on sale. And I think they're working on console ports. I think it's on PC only right now. So
Nope, it's on
perfect Switch
Switch.
game. Oh, sick!
It's on Switch.
Get it on Switch.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah. So main story on how long to beat is 7 hours, 7.5. Main and extra 11. Completion is 15.5.
Nice.
Good
Goes down
length.
easy. Yeah, that's like my sweet spot of length these days. Like
Same.
after like
sure.
40 hours, I like dropped off of Tales of Arise. Like I just couldn't do it anymore. So, yeah, cool. Well, if you guys want to go around, how about we start with Jonah?
You know
You
what?
buying?
I think I might look into it a little bit more, and it's definitely a maybe because I've
Yeah.
got stuff to play right now, but I will definitely look into it some more.
But in your case, Jonah, since you're bumming my Steam account, you could just play it.
Oh, never mind. I got it
Free.
already. No worries.
I think, Caden, that you did such a great job on this pitch that I retroactively went back in time and bought this game already.
You already own it.
I bought it earlier this week.
Sick. All right. Well, I can't wait for you to dive in. It's really
No,
cool.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
though, the pitch
Oh.
really kind of like makes me more psyched for it. So,
Brad, before you make your decision, I forgot to mention the game has a parry mechanic.
Always good. Always good. Yeah, I'm very interested in this. I definitely have to check it out, especially because you said it was your game of the year right now.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sleep on any of these really awesome games, and it sounds super cool. Like I love the idea of this Majora's Mask time mechanic of having to make tough choices and stuff like that. I love stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Very
Heck
cool.
All right.
All right.
Looks
I
like you
guess
got a
yeah.
winner.
Winner.
It's chicken.
Wall chicken dinner.
Wall chicken dinner.
Wall chicken dinner.
Cool. So Brad, you'll be next up to the pitcher's mound. What you pitching?
I'm gonna be pitching not a new game; it's an older game, but I recently played through it again because of the time of the year I played through which is The Evil Within, brought to you by the man that popularized survival horror, who created Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami.
Awesome.
Now, I don't know all your experience with survival horror, but I'm a big fan. I love those games, so getting a new game from the creator that brought survival horror was right up my alley. And the thing I like about Evil Within is it feels like a natural evolution of Resident Evil 4, where I felt like Resident Evil 4 is a natural evolution of Resident Evil. To me, this feels like the next step in his creative process. Once you picture the sweet gun action that you love from Resident Evil 4, you love shooting those dudes, you love collecting the money, upgrading your guns. Evil Within, it's got that, baby. It's got it there. But now it's groupie green gel that you get off dead kills. Good stuff. Now, also, you can stealth kill guys. You don't have to just waste your ammo all the time. Rewarding smart play. Now, one thing I think a good strength about this game is its environments. It's not a more quote realistic thing of you slowly walking through areas you could predict. This game is taking you all sorts of weird ass places that you didn't expect. You're starting in like some weird slaughterhouse, then you find yourself in a dark village in a dark forest, then you're in some catacombs and in a castle. It goes all over the place, and this game is not afraid to push back. You're gonna feel that ammo. You're gonna feel in those shots. You're reloading your pistol. You make a shot, you miss, hurts, devastation. Almost sometimes feels worse than getting hit by a guy. You want to keep that ammo, that essence of, I could die any moment now. I am strapped for ammo. I got to make everything count. It's all there. Plus, the story is super weird and actually kind of sick about diving into the mental capacity of this bird victim who is actually a psychopath, experimenting on people, diving into the psyches. Also, really good DLCs that really focus on stealth, taking in real creepy environments, mixing in. I really hate games a lot of times with this trend of, Shinji Mikami, successor to RE4. If you like RE4, play it.
Awesome. I'm sorry, I did not give you the 30-second.
Oh, it's okay.
I got
Oh, shit.
I got lost in
your
pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Everybody's aware of the infamous, insane camera zoom in when you aim your gun. How do you feel about this?
Doesn't really bother me. Like, I never was like, oh, my vision when I was aiming or anything like that. Because, in this game, I don't spend, I guess, a ton of time just sitting there with my gun out. This game, to me, is very mobile. Like, you're running a lot in this game. That's why there's a stamina mechanic in there. So, I guess it didn't really bother me that much. I didn't even really think about it when I was replaying it.
Can you move and shoot at the same time in this game? Because I don't remember.
I think you can move really slowly, but I'm so weird because I'm used to old survival horror games where you don't move. I often don't move a lot when I shoot because I'm really trying to really get my aim down. But yeah, I can't remember for sure now.
No worries.
So I'm a huge supporter and proponent for The Evil Within 2. And I think that game doesn't get enough love, and I generally feel like this series doesn't get enough love overall.
Correct.
But when The Evil Within 2 came out, I hadn't actually played The Evil Within 1. So I ended up just kind of watching a long play of it really quickly just to kind of burn through it. So I knew going into the second game, which I really wanted to play, what was going on. I know that they tightened up the gameplay, I think, quite a bit in The Evil Within 2. So do you think it would be difficult going kind of in reverse order and kind of going back to that first game? Would it feel too kind of stiff or unhinged compared to the second game if you were to go back to it when your experience with the series is really only relegated to the second game?
Sure. I think the button layout is a little better in 2. I think they made some smart choices, but I think 1 is pretty different compared to 2. Because especially 2 kind of has this more open world nature to some parts where you really are just in these areas exploring for one thing. This is very focused. You're going through these very specific areas. It's laid out exactly how they want you to go through. And I think the environments are way more varied too. I think the surprise of Evil Within 2 is of Evil Within is just bringing you these really crazy locations and tying into some weird new mechanic to it. And I think it kind of has a little more memorable boss encounters too, from what I remember from 2. Like Safehead.
Yep.
Awesome character. And I think the DLCs with Kidman really helps sell the narrative and tie it in even more.
Okay. Yeah, and I have no experience at all with the DLCs. So that would be cool to check out.
These games are super story focused. Obviously it's not the most important thing, but there's a ton of story there and a lot to dive into if you want. So I mean, if you like 2, I think you'll really enjoy this game.
Okay, thank you.
Just since I've played the game before, I'm aware towards the end of the game, it starts introducing enemies with guns. And It has this habit at some stages they just like give you a bunch of ammo because you're about to like go up against like a bunch of guys with guns. I mean, do you like that? Like, does it add some variance to the gameplay, or do you think that is a weak point? Or?
So to me, it's the old Resident Evil 4 thing where I feel like
Sure.
Resident Evil 4 kind of just gets way too actiony at the end, and I feel like this kind of suffers to that extent too. But I guess the only defense is that at those points of the games, you're so powerful. You've like upgraded all your arsenal. They have to start throwing some crazier things at you. Like one or two guys isn't going to scare you as much now that you're loaded up with like some crazy upgraded guns. But yeah, I think the action's a little too much at some parts. Sure. Not my favorite parts.
Last question, because I actually don't know this. I don't know if you do, but does this game have like a new game plus like in Resident Evil 4? Or you carry your weapons and stuff?
Yep, you can carry your weapons and you can unlock new difficulties.
All right. Any other questions, guys?
I played. Oh God, I think I played like 2/3 of this game, and I fell off of it just because I felt like the game was like just dragging on at that point. I didn't get quite to the guys with guns yet, but like I was just at this point I was like, wow, this game is still trucking on, and I was confused the entire way through. How do you feel about like the length of the game personally?
I feel like it's a pretty good length. Maybe I guess you cut like maybe an hour off, maybe. But I feel like what I like about it is a lot of the levels introduce new mechanics that aren't in other levels, like some new angle to it. Maybe like early on, you're very little dudes. Later on, there's like a big wave of guys that they're introducing an enemy you can't really kill, so you have to hide from or something like that. Just like few little things that kept me going. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna do this chapter. And the mechanics and also the environments, like I said, which is a big plus for me.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe give it a shot now.
I don't remember. Does this game have QTEs in it?
I don't think there's moments where like you get grabbed and you like wiggle the stick to get them off you, but not like your Krauser fights from RE4 where you're like
like instant QTEs. Type
nothing stuff. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he definitely cooled it on those for this time around.
Learned his lesson.
Yeah,
so to speak. All right. Cool.
And they've one couple of things. They made some slight tweaks that people didn't like the aspect ratio before, where like the black bars. You can turn those off now. You can turn them off if you want now.
Okay.
And it's all Game Pass. You got Game Pass. Just try them both there, right there. Boom.
All right.
I mean, that in itself is a sell. It being on
Game
Pass.
Yeah, you got Game Pass. Not much to lose.
Wes, how are you feeling?
I don't have Game Pass, unfortunately. But I mean, I think you can probably get this game for a song at this point if you wanted to play it back on your PS4 or whatever. Friend of the show, Bean Bro, has been playing this game also. He went back and cool. He's been checking it out. So, Brad, hearing you talk about the game and hearing him talk about the game as well, it's kind of put the impetus on maybe trying it again. So,
cool.
I might pick it up. I might pick it up and give it a shot. It's a good one for the reserves. I do enjoy a good survival horror game every now and then, especially something that's kind of classically tuned, which this is. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't have if you hadn't brought it to the show, but I think I'm gonna jump on it.
Excellent. Great series. Hopefully we get a third.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, didn't it come out that Shinji Mikami's working on a new horror game, but we don't know?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, for me, Brad, you just did like a really good job pitching the game, and I played this game when it launched, like way back, and really don't have fond memories of it. But
sure, yeah,
it would be an interesting curiosity to go play it again as a retrospective after playing Resident Evil 2. And it sounds strange, but you just saying that, just the simple fact that they removed the weird black bars from the letterbox, like that makes me want to play it so much.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I turned it off after a while. Like I played it originally with that, but I think I prefer it without it.
Sure.
Is there, because I know they had it in 2 where like in the game, in like gameplay, it's just like it doesn't have the black bars, but then you go into like tense scenes where it'll like go from gameplay to cutscene. Will it let you like just have the black bars on the cutscenes? Because I think that's a good look for it.
I think the cutscenes might have that just by default.
Oh, okay.
And when you play it goes back. I can't quite remember though, but I think it's still there for those.
Okay.
Cool,
Just
cool.
a little bit of out of context question. Just jumping back to the sequel. Did anybody ever try the first person mode?
I have
that
not tried that
they
yet.
added to that
I
game.
did. It's so hard and janky. It's like
Yeah.
good for a laugh, but you don't want to play the game
Yeah,
like
that
that.
game was not designed for that in mind, in my opinion. But yeah.
The only time is the gas mask part where you are forced to do it, and I was like,
They force you into that. Yeah.
oh, it was rough. It was super rough.
Cool. Well, nice job, Brad. I think we're all
Thank you.
in, given
Yeah.
how cheap and easily accessible the game is these
Yeah.
days. Yeah. And in my head, it's still Halloween time. I've refused to move on. So
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll turn things over to Wes, who has prepared a game for us to close out the podcast with.
Since Brad's here, I want to do something a little bit more original, something we haven't done on the show before. This is a word association game. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to read off a list of words. As I'm reading those, the words are all associated with a specific game or a specific series. It doesn't necessarily. In some cases, it will be a specific game in a series, but it could also just be the series. So, They start kind of like vague, and they get like more specific as we go. So you guys just start kind of calling out what you think the game is. You can have as many guesses as you want. But the first person to guess right gets the point. And that's the game. Anybody have any questions before we get started?
Do you want us to like buzz in with our names or something? Or do you want us to just start shouting?
That's fine. Why don't you buzz in? Because
Okay.
I feel like it's a little too chaotic if you just
Sure.
just if you have an answer, just say your name.
Okay.
All right. We'll just see how it goes.
Okay.
All right. First question. Suit.
Jonah.
Brad? Okay.
I heard Jonah first.
Yeah.
Hitman.
It is Hitman.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
The quote is
That's what I was gonna
suit.
say. Yeah.
I've never heard that. That's hilarious.
It's just
a word associated with the game.
Oh, my bad. Okay, now I understand.
It's not a quote. It's not a quote.
Okay.
It's just a word.
Okay.
Yeah. The other words were global, sandbox, silly, costumes, and 47.
Oh.
All right. Here we go. Next one. Trick.
Jonah.
Hate it.
Brad.
I heard Jonah first.
SSX?
No.
Oh.
Tony Hawk.
No. The next word is doll.
Hated.
Yes.
Bloodborne.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah.
Trick. Weapon. The other words were gothic, hunt, blood, and yarnum.
Oh, that threw me off.
All right. The next one. Melancholy. Lizard.
Huh?
16. Climb.
Oh, Brad.
Yep.
Shadow of the Colossus?
That's it.
Oh, that's
Whoa!
awesome, dude. That was a clutch guess.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
It all makes
Nice.
sense in retrospect.
Yeah.
Like, I would have got it. Like,
Good job, Brad.
Thank you.
All right. Next one. Robots. Air dash.
Jonah.
Yep.
Sonic?
No.
oh, good guess.
Ride armor. Wall
Ride armor.
jump.
Oh, Brad?
Yep.
Mega Man X?
That's it.
Oh,
Yes.
duh.
I was thinking Titanfall.
Hey, that's a good guess, yeah.
Yeah, that is a good guess. All right. Here we go. Sky. Race it. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna
Go
say Skyward Sword.
Nope. Sorry.
Damn.
The next word is racist.
What?
Oh, Jonah.
Yeah.
BioShock Infinite.
That's it.
Whoa,
Great
dude, that was wow.
Good
That was
job.
Very intellectual of you.
The others were Power, Monster, Comstock, and finally Elizabeth. All right, next one. Radiation.
Jonah.
Yeah.
Fallout.
Nope.
Oh,
Ooh. good guess.
Firearms.
Huh.
Fallout.
Winter.
oh.
Brad.
Yeah, go ahead,
The
Brad.
Division.
Nope, not the
Yeah.
Division.
Caden.
Train. Oh, go ahead, Caden.
Metro.
Okay, this is a specific one.
Oh no, I have no
Jonah.
idea. Just scratch them
Jonah.
all.
Metro Exodus.
That's it.
Woo!
I gotta give it to Jonah on this one. I'm sorry, Caden.
Stole my
you got
point.
You did.
you got the series. You got the series. That one was specific. All right, here we go. Nature. Gang. Historical. Robbery. Western.
Jonah.
Yep.
Red Dead 2.
That's it.
Yeah,
Wow, Jonah's
Yeah.
killing it.
that's
This
it.
is your game, Jonah.
I guess.
We finally found your game.
Yay! Not a smooth brain anymore, guys. I swear.
All right, here we go. Assassin.
Bait.
Stealth.
Bait.
Brad.
Wait,
Yes.
I heard Caden say something. Did you say your
He
name,
said
Caden?
bait. He said bait.
Oh, bait.
so it's
Okay.
bait.
Go ahead, Brad.
Now the bait threw me off, so I'm just gonna say Sekiro now.
No,
Oh.
sorry. The second word was stealth. The next word is knife.
It
Crossbow.
can't be that easy.
Blink.
Oh,
Jonah.
Brad.
I heard Brad.
Dishonored.
That's it.
Oh.
Ah, nice.
All right, here we go. 4 more. Wasteland. Gambling.
Jonah.
Yep.
Fallout New Vegas, baby.
There you go.
Dang.
All right. Mines. Crafting.
Brad?
Fishing. Yeah, Brad.
Oh, I was gonna say Minecraft, but I don't think there's fishing in that, is there?
Bait.
Yeah.
It's not Minecraft. Community center.
Jonah.
Oh, Caden. Oh, dang it.
Is
Go
it-
ahead, Jonah.
Is it Stardew Valley?
It's Stardew Valley.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That's what I thought.
All right, 2 more. Brothers. Bosses. Platforming.
Okay.
Shooting.
What?
Devil.
Caden.
Yep.
Devil May Cry.
Nope.
What? It ticks all the boxes.
Last word is cartoon.
Oh, Caden,
Jonah.
Caden.
Hayden.
Cuphead.
Ah.
Yeah, there it is. Nice.
Threw you off with that one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you really did.
All right, here's the last one. Fantasy. Spirit. Orc.
Oh, Caden.
Yes.
Shadow of Mordor.
That's it.
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor.
Nice. Nice, dude.
Nicely
Nice.
done.
All right.
All right, the winner of the game is Jonah.
Yay!
With 6
Oh,
points. Brad and Caden
congratulations.
tied for second with 3.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Good job.
Yay! I
That was a
did
great
it.
game, Wes. Nice work
Mhm.
on the
Oh, yeah,
design
no.
on that one.
I like that one a lot. That was awesome.
Could it be because you won that you liked it so much?
No, I mean I just had fun with it because like when you
Yeah.
guys would guess, it'd be like, oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Very
Nice.
cool. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the show, guys. We made it. Thanks again, Brad, so much for taking time out of your day to join us. We will quickly go around for just our final thoughts. I'll go ahead and let you go first, Brad, as the guest. Anything you want to plug or just anything you're thinking about? Go for it.
I mean, if you want to see more of our stuff, you can go to patreon.com/easyallies. We are on YouTube also, Twitch, all that good stuff. If you want to see what we do over there, because we are supported by excellent people like all you guys. Just people helping us get through the day. Yeah. Appreciate it. And
it's good content too.
Thank you. Yeah, and video games are awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right, Wes, final thoughts?
Again, just want to thank Brad for being here. Not to like get too gushy, but this is honestly like a huge honor to have you here.
Yeah.
You've been somebody I've looked up to in this industry and amongst amongst the allies for a long time. So it's just a huge pleasure and an honor to have you here. So thanks for considering joining us. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
Just a quick plug since Brad's here for some other Easy Allies content. One of my favorite pieces of Allies content, Mysterious Monsters. If you haven't checked it out, it's hosted by Michael Huber. It's a trivia show that the guys put on, and it's awesome. Just if you haven't heard of it before, just check it out. Mysterious Monsters. I think that you all just started the second season, right? Not too long ago.
Yep.
And you will not be sorry that you checked it out.
Cool. I'll give it a look for sure.
All right, Jonah, final thoughts?
Yeah, like Wes said, thanks, Brad. It was cool having you. Cool meeting you. We Zach Pearson and I have put together and we started Secret Santa. So if you guys are part of the Great Game Debate community and would like to give/receive a wonderful gift to a stranger in the community, that would be awesome. Maybe make that stranger a friend, and that would be something cool. And just spread the love, spread some joy. Entry for Secret Santa will end on, what do we come up with, the 27th, right?
I don't actually know. I don't think I talked to you about that.
I can't remember. I'll look up the date that we put. But yeah, we've got Secret Santa, and then on November 14th, we're doing our game club for Metroid Dread, and if you join, you automatically get entered in to win an awesome Doom Eternal poster from our friend Crowsmack.
Shout out. Cool. Any other housekeeping, Jonah?
You know what? Do something nice for somebody. Be kind,
Yeah.
Share the love.
Cool. Well, if you're listening or watching, you can find us on Great Game Debate on YouTube, at Great Game Debate, spelled DEB, the number 8 on Twitter. Pretty much any podcast service, thanks to Anchor. And pretty much any of those places, you'll find a link to our Discord, the Great Game Debate, where you just participate in friendly, non-toxic video game discussion with understanding adults, and maybe join us in one of our bi-monthly game clubs. We're doing Metroid Dread this time, as Jonah said. But yeah, I've been your host, Caden Barrett Lane, and my final thoughts are, if I don't get into the Elden Ring closed beta, I'm probably going to throw myself out a window. Bye.
Bye.
As always, a big thank you to our friend Misdriven for the music in our podcast. If you like what you hear and you want to check out more of what they have, you can pay them a visit on Twitter at MISTRIVEN719 or on Bandcamp at Misdriven. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time.